Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, on each week on part 3 of our entertainment show, we premiere a new movie or TV series that is debuting in Ireland and the UK this upcoming month, and especially with Irish eyes and Irish interest. And up for discussion this week, it's a movie that's arriving in cinemas all across the country, nationwide here in Ireland, on March the 17th. It's called A Snowy Day in Oakland, and it's about a psychologist from San Francisco who finds romance in terms of the psychologist industry after opening up a clinic in a nearby town of Oakland. And it's all about her sort of life story in terms of running this premises, her sort of the people she meets when she moves into the small neighborhood in sort of Oakland, and in terms of settling down, finding romance, and the sort of the highs and lows that comes about it. It stars an all-star cast. It stars Nicole Ari Parker, Evan Ross, R.G. Marion, Sean McGuire, Deon Cole, Kimberly Elise, and our special guest this evening, who plays also stars Michael J. White, not to forget the one and only Michael J. White. Our special guest this evening, the one and only Roger Cross, who plays the role of Brother Freeman. And Roger, A Snowy Day in Oakland.
Yes.
And dare I say, the film was shot in Santa Clara in California. How did you manage to pull that off?
Hey, that's the magic of the movies. We're close. We're in proximity to Oakland, so we're only a few hours south.
Did you have to was the fog air horn in terms of the snow going in overdrive to sort of create it, I wonder?
People here can't drive or operate when it's raining, much less when it snows. It's kind of, people lose their minds when it snows here. And it's like, I don't know if you've seen the videos of the last month when people got snow, and just all these crazy people still trying to drive up to Tahoe and all these places, wiping out, crashing all over the place. And it's kind of like, snow in California, especially Southern California or even the Bay Area, they don't mix very well.
And I know, Roger, you're a busy man and you keep very much active in terms of TV and movie sort of industry, and you get many roles that come across your way, many scripts that you were recommended for in terms of auditions, and some you say yes to, some you say no to in terms of time constraints. What made A Snowy Day in Oakland stick out for you? Was it when your talent agent came across it, were there certain names attached to it? Were Nicole Ari Parker, was Michael J. White, for example, was Deon Cole, were all these names attached to it before you came on board?
Yes, actually, and that was part of the fun. I mean, and he also goes, and if it works, we're gonna get like Loretta Devine, we're gonna get Marla Gibbs, who to me I grew up watching, and I know Michael and I know Nicole, and so we've worked together before, and I got to meet Deon Cole, of course, because he's hilarious, and so that was a big part of it. So when they sent the offer and I was looking at it and then checking out, I'm like, oh wow, they're putting all these people together. I'm like, this could be a hell of a thing and hilarious. And sure enough, every day, man, we were just cracking up. These are some funny people that we have on this movie.
And tell me, Roger, for our audience listeners, I probably give a brief description, but maybe you can go to a more expanse, maybe in terms of audience and listeners. A Snowy Day in Oakland, what's your sort of take about it? What's the whole plot and concept of the movie?
Well, that's part of the beauty of it, and I think anyone, especially if they're from a small community, they'll get it, because you have the way things are done in this little community, and everyone does their thing. We go to the barber shop, we get our hair cut and this, and we have our repartee with each person. You stop, you get your coffee here, then you go to this person, and everyone gossips about everything. And then in comes this lady who, this bigwig psychologist from San Fran, and she comes into this community and she wants to, she of course finds romance, and then she wants to, change things a little bit, and she throws a little monkey wrench in things by twisting things, and we're like, who is this woman? Some of us enjoy it. Brother Freeman kind of enjoys it because he's kind of has fun with it, but some people are like, this you don't come in here, and it's a thing where they're like, in our community, we don't talk about our feelings. I mean, you're doomed to failure here. and then people would secretly go talk to her, things like that. It was just it was a lot of it's all about that small community almost trying to keep someone out, but knowing that they're necessary to come in, and it's about them making their way into very this very family, this weird family in a sense.
And I suppose, Roger, I'm just guessing now, but the Brother Freeman sounds to me a preacher, a reverend. Was that sort of your role in the sort of movie, or am I completely way off the mark?
He is Brother Freeman for many reasons. He's not the preacher. I'm not. I don't know if I could like Michael actually plays the preacher. Brother Freeman, he is, you know, he says he's a Christian, and he's very much, you know, the church is a big part of the community. This community, the church, and they all go to church, and they, you know, blah blah blah. So everyone's brother this or sister this, and Brother Freeman takes it. And he is a person that was he, a Jamaican guy that moved to this neighborhood and found his way in this whole thing. And we had some fun with playing with, you know, you might even hear a little accent from me when we watch this movie.
So you have your sort of Cool Runnings accents, dare I say, in terms of
dare you say
yo
yes.
man.
Yes, I am. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Roger, in terms of a snowy day in Oakland, it was shot in Santa Clara. Was it a sort of, normally these are 6 to 8 weeks productions, was that about right in terms of from start to finish, or in terms of your role and your character, was it that bit sort of lesser and times you spent on set, or was it a long day, long shoot, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., dare I say?
Some days were long, but we got this thing shot, I believe, in like just about 5 weeks. We got it shot in 5 weeks. A lot of it was in the studio, which saved a lot of time. But Kim was really on it, and as I said, he hired a group of pros. So when we showed up to work, everyone was ready to go. And not only would they, it's not so much like, oh, you got this seat right. It's more like, let's do this. Ooh, how about we try this? And then we'd play around and change things and do this. And he'd be like, yes. And Kim was great about letting us kind of run with it sometimes. So there's times you'll probably see us a bit out of control, but we had such a great time with it.
So there was a expression of improv, dare I say, in terms of, and when you have a comedian like Deon Cole, I suppose improv is his second nature to him. In terms
Oh
of
my God! Sometimes he and I would be in that barbershop, and we'd just be cracking and just saying stuff, and they'd go, "Yeah, record it," and I just throw something at him, and he just like, "Yeah," and just throw it back. Yeah, he is great to work with. He's a very funny man.
and I suppose in terms of this, is sort of humor, sort of light-hearted sort of movie as well. We all know Michael J. White for Kick-Ass, sort of Stones, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jet Li, and that sort of category mode. How does Michael fit into this more relaxed sort of role where he's not basically breaking a guy's neck every 2 seconds?
You know what I mean? It's so great because that he's known for the tough guy, and he is a brilliant martial artist in real life, all that. So it was kind of fun, and he really enjoyed it. You know, he's kind of like, yeah, it's great to hear put on the suit and play like the preacher man and do his thing and this and be against type, if you will. And so it was a lot of he had a lot of fun with it. You know, he and I also both were from the Arrow universe. We're both in Arrow back in the day. You know, other movie and another movie, we've done another movie before, but it was a lot of fun to work with him and, you know, catch up with him, and so it was fun.
And I suppose, Roger, in terms of a snowy day in Oakland as well, in terms of the comments and premise, did you touch on any particular serious subject matter, or is it all very light humor in terms of, was there any sort of occurring theme that you want to give a certain attention to in terms of the movie? Would you try to make that psychology aspect a bit serious in terms of what it was, not to make it look like a gimmick either?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of it. There is a very serious thing does happen. And we, as we know from some of the greatest tragedies, sometimes come the best comedy. But it's also, I mean, it touched on the whole, you know, police thing as well, that in the community, policing a community that's closed in a sense. And as you may know, you know, Black Lives Matter, the whole thing. this was filmed before all that happened, but it does touch on that about a police officer in the neighborhood who things get out of hand, and I don't want to give away too much, but things happen in the neighborhood with this police officer that all is it a misunderstanding or was it malicious? And it's for the people to deal with and try and deal with that in this community. So there is that part of it, aspect, very heavy side of it, but that as you know, you need some of that. You need some of that gravitas, that gravity to bring you out and then bring you out of it with some of the comedy and things like that. So yes, we had some very
and you mentioned comedy and you mentioned cracking up a few times. Is there a very good few good one-liners in this sort of movie in terms of starting and finishing a joke in terms of one-liners, or is it an overall sort of team of comedy, or is there, dare I say, some of the great one-liners you would hear in the past, like Married with Children, are there some great sort of one-liners in this sort of comedy that make you sort of stand up and laugh?
I'll be honest, I was not around for the full screening of it, so I've not seen it. So I don't know what made it in, but there were a ton of them on the day when we shot it. So it's all about what Kim left in the movie and what was taken out. But there will be some great one-liners. It's a great overarching thing that, great script, but some of those moments when we're on set, and I say, especially like Deon and Loretta, she would just all of a sudden just say something, and we'd be like, trying not to laugh. So it made it for some great moments that I think will translate.
And it sounds by Roger that you had a hell of a lot of fun. Was there any sort of good, sort of memorable story from your time on set that was unique or a bit quirky, a bit out there in terms of shooting a snowy day in California? That still you still remember? I know it's only a while ago that you filmed it, but you think to say, yeah, that was an eventful day to say the least.
We had a few. One of the funnier moments. Deon is a very busy man, and he was doing shows, flying across the country, doing stuff on Blackish. Then he was coming in here to do this, and so he was a busy man, and he might occasionally have fallen asleep on his chair. And we might have gotten Nicole and Kimberly at one point as he was sleeping to come up on either side of him and wake him up in a gentle way as I recorded. So we might have had a little fun making him jump out of his chair. So yeah.
And certainly a comedian, obviously, that's their job, to make the audience jump out of their chair. I suppose they don't really like it when it's turned on them.
Yes, and so it was great to turn it on him. That's what was brilliant about that. We messed with him, and he was like, "Come on now, I'm trying to." We're like, "Yeah, don't fall asleep around us." It's like, so it was great.
If you fall asleep, you might wake up without no eyebrows, dare I say,
yes.
in terms
yes,
of this
or makeup on your face. See.
Roger, I know you're involved in a whole world of a sort of projects, and I know some of them are classified that you probably can't speak to us about. But I bet you there's probably guest appearances or guest episodes, or maybe another series or TV series or movie that you're working on the works. So you might be able to share, dare I say, a bit of information that we might see on our screens while we have you on, and later on the year in Ireland, in terms of Ireland and UK.
Yeah, well, as I said, I believe Dark Matter's airing over there right now, and so that holds a special place for me. Dark Matter was a tremendous show and a great group of people that I just loved working with. And I think Coroner's over there as well. So I did 4 seasons on a show called Coroner about the dead people and that sort of thing. So that should be coming over there. I have a movie that Wanted Man with Dolph Lundgren. That should be coming over there. That I just did the ADR for that, the sound dubbing.
Is Dolph as big as what he looks on the screen in person? Is he just as big? Is he nearly over 6 foot? 6 foot?
Oh yeah, he's a big dude. He's a big dude. So yeah, it was kind of cool. So it was fun. It was him and Kelsey Grammer in a movie called Wanted Man, And so you'll be seeing that coming soon.
That's a unique sort of take in terms of chemistry. Kelsey Grammer and Dolph Lundgren. You wouldn't sort of put those sort of Frasier and Red Soviet sort of together. That sounds interesting. How was that sort of like in terms of that being on set with those sort of two characters? Two very different personalities, I imagine.
Two very different, but both great. Both, Dolph is more his, very stoic, tough guy self, and Kelsey is, very smarmy and very quick-witted and things like that. So it was kind of great to have the juxtaposition of those two, and I'm kind of in the middle of these two guys, kind of going, really, it was kind of it was a lot of fun, and they're great guys. So.
And I suppose, Roger, lastly, before we finish up, to promote a quick 30-second promo on a snowy day in Oakland. I know you're a very busy man, but sometime in the near future, like everyone in every profession, you'll get to book some time off and get to do a bit of sightseeing, dare I say. And as the Emerald Isle, is the Emerald Isle shining in your eyes? Is there a bit of green wanting to come into your life a bit in the near future?
Actually, there is, and my lady, she actually loves Ireland, and she's been there before. I've never been there, and so she and I'm like, I want to go there. So, and then of course I was watching, Banshees of Inisherin, and it's I'll remember not to, piss anybody off over there because they might hold a grudge, but but watching that and seeing the amazing vistas and just the culture, I think you people have a lot of fun over there and stuff, and grab a pint and. Have a wee bit of fun over there.
Not too bad. Not too bad. You're certainly getting there, as the saying goes.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's the sort of the accents in terms of well, the Irish one is quite easier compared to the Australian one. The Australian one is a lot more harder in terms. I find Americans probably struggle with the Australian accent that bit more. It's like
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Irish accent's a bit it's a bit more smoother like that, and kind of try it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the Australian one is like more good day, mate. Yes.
Good day. You have to be more nicely with it. Things like that.
Roger, this has been a blast and an awful great atmosphere and great crack talking to you for the last 15 to 20 minutes. But I suppose important business now. You have to tell all our Irish audience and all our listeners why they should get in their cars, their trains, automobiles, private helicopters, tractors, bicycles, scooters, get in en masse to March 17 to the cinema screens, get on that, pop their feet on the recliner, put it back, have their popcorn, their Fanta, their Maltesers, put their feet down, put their arms around their back, over their head, watch a snowy day in Oakland, and what's in store for them?
Woo! I'm tired of listening to all that. That was amazing. Go see Snowy Day in Oakland and have a great life, and hour and a half of escapism, and just laugh with a community of people that love and cherish each other. And even when adversity strikes or a stranger comes in, you can still count on each other, and that's the beauty of it, I think. So get out there, enjoy it, and just have a laugh.
Have a laugh. For me, Jim Conlan, speaking to you, Roger Cross. I really enjoyed this interview there today. It's a pleasure speaking to you, Roger. It was a really good sort of buzz, I know, the last 15 or 20 minutes. We do encourage all our audience to do get out and watch a snowy day in Oakland debuting on March 17th. And lastly, from me, Jim Conlan, to you, Roger Cross, stay safe, take care, and please God, we'll speak again sometime in the near future.
Thank you very much. All the best, Ireland. Love you guys. Mwah.